Right now at 10, attorneys for a former Olympian want a vandalism case permanently thrown out. The latest in the saga surrounding the reflecting pool. Plus, new gun laws in Montgomery County facing several legal challenges. Why the DOJ says the new legislation is a problem for places of worship. And some expectant mothers are scrambling tonight as a longtime D.C. maternity option faces an uncertain future. It's a story you'll see only on Fox 5. Your news starts right now. And first up at 10 tonight, we start on the weather watch as high heat and humidity makes their return to the D.C. region.
Yeah, it's really setting the stage for what could be the hottest stretch of weather since the middle of July. We want to get right over to meteorologist Mike Thomas for a first check of our forecast. Looks like the heat is around to stay.
And did you all catch what I caught right behind Jim's head there just a moment ago?
No.
So, some distant lightning in the future as we have some thunderstorms rumbling through parts of the D.C. region out there, in the distance, I should say. Lightning could be in our future by tomorrow as we'll get some showers and thunderstorms back in the forecast. But she's absolutely right. We're going to have these days where we start with sunshine. Into the afternoon, we'll mix in a few clouds. We'll be hot, we'll be humid. And then in the late afternoon and early evening hours, that's when we could fire some of these showers and thunderstorms. 89 this afternoon, which is right where we should be, but certainly felt the humidity rising throughout the course of the day. We did add about half an inch of rain, so we're around or just under an inch away from all the rain we got in July already has fallen in August. And you can kind of see it right there, another lightning flash in the distance from some of the storms in far northwestern Maryland right now. 82 mostly clear down at Reagan National. That's why you can see the lightning in the distance. Dulles at 80, BWI Thurgood Marshall 81 degrees. But even right now with a temperature of 82, it feels closer to 90 with the humidity that's out there. Now, that lightning, that camera down at National Harbor, it is facing north and west, so it's grabbing these thunderstorms that are rumbling out through parts of the West Virginia and Maryland panhandles tonight. Heads up, folks, in Hagerstown. This one at one time had a little bit of a severe thunderstorm warning to it. That has been allowed to drop, but the way it's going, kind of northeast there, it may hit Hagerstown here within the course of the next hour, maybe hour and 15 minutes. So heads up for folks there. Decent amount of lightning. That's probably the cell that we saw there on the camera, putting the lightning strikes down behind our anchors. As we look at tomorrow's planner, a lot of sunshine to it. It's going to be a nice looking day. Just keep your guard up for some of these pop-up showers and thunderstorms. A few could pack a punch with heavy downpours and some gusty winds. I'll show you futurecast, and you'll see it's not quite all sunny and bright for all of us across the area. Expect those heat index values to be around 100 degrees too. This is going to last a little while as well. We'll talk more about it, your full forecast, coming up in just a few more minutes here, guys.
Sounds good. New details tonight about the deadly crash involving 7...
Before we get to that, Angie, we'll get to this story here for you. In Prince George's County, an accidental shooting has a teenager in the hospital tonight.
Okay, and investigators now working to determine where he got that gun. Fox 5's Shamari Stone reports from Glen Arden.
Tonight, some people who live in this community are asking themselves, how did this teen allegedly get a gun, and what led up to what police say was an accidental shooting as this investigation continues. Tonight, the investigation out here at the Glen Arden Hills apartment complex. The Prince George's County Police Gun Crimes Unit tells us a 14-year-old boy accidentally shot himself in the torso inside an apartment out here on the 3000 block of Roland Kenner Loop this afternoon. The teen is at a hospital tonight in stable condition. Meanwhile, neighbors are concerned about guns in their community.
It's very disheartening to hear. That's nothing that anyone wants to hear is going on somewhere where they live, where they lay their hair, where their children is. No one wants to hear about that. It's very disheartening to hear. It's honestly very sad.
And tonight, police have not released the name of the 14-year-old. They say that this shooting is isolated and that there is no threat to the community. If you have any more additional information about what happened, call the Prince George's County Police Department. I'm Shamari Stone. Back to you.
And now to those new details about the deadly crash involving 7 young children in a stolen car at the intersection of Clopper Road and Great Seneca Highway in Germantown, Maryland. The victim, 58-year-old Vance Payne, a father of 5 from Berryville, Virginia. He was headed to work when police say a stolen Kia Optima slammed into his vehicle. Police say that 4 girls and 3 boys between the ages of 12 and 15 were inside of that stolen car. The driver was just 13 years old, a 13-year-old boy. Critics of Maryland's new juvenile justice reform say that the suspects will likely get a pass because of their ages.
People who live in Maryland should immediately call their lawmakers and tell them that they must change course. before another person is tragically killed by juveniles who will get a slap on the wrist. Look, services are nice, but in the end, if it is your loved one that is killed, you want more than services. You want accountability.
All 7 children were hospitalized, 2 of them with critical injuries. And police in Prince William County now asking anybody with pictures or video of a deadly shooting at a Woodbridge car meetup to come forward. A 16-year-old died at that rally in a parking lot along Crossing Place on Saturday. It was one of 3 illegal car meetups in our area over the weekend.
The bus driver charged in a deadly I-95 crash in Stafford County is now out on bond tonight. Jing Dong's attorneys say he was released this afternoon and is now with his wife. Dong is from New York but is staying at a home in Northern Virginia as a condition of his bail. He is charged with 5 counts of involuntary manslaughter in the crash back in May that killed 5 and injured dozens more. Meanwhile, the Baltimore man who was convicted of killing an off-duty D.C. police officer nearly a decade ago will spend the rest of his life behind bars. A judge sentenced Deon Thompson to life plus 33 years for shooting D.C. Police Sergeant Tony Mason in Baltimore in 2017. The case went cold for 6 years before detectives got a tip back in 2023 that led to the investigation and the murder charges against Thompson. Mason was a 17-year MPD veteran.
Tonight, former Olympian David Hearn's attorneys are pursuing even more legal action after the case accusing Hearn of vandalizing the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool was dropped late last week.
His lawyers spoke with our Sydney Persing tonight. She is live at the reflecting pool with details on what comes next. Hey, Sid.
Hey, so David Hearn's attorney made it exceptionally clear to me tonight his team is not done fighting for justice legally for their client. We also talked about how Mr. Hearn is doing, what he's thinking, how he's feeling. We have not heard from he himself since that case was dropped. Now, there's a lot to get into. We're going to go over all of that. But first, I just want to remind our viewers, it was on Friday when U.S. Attorney for D.C. Jeanine Pirro moved to dismiss that indictment against Hearn, saying in a filing that newly produced evidence showed the former Olympic canoeist was not, in fact, responsible for the damage to the pool's lining, but that it instead was shoddy repair work. While the government moved to dismiss that indictment, they moved to dismiss it without prejudice, which essentially means that in the future, they could try to re-indict David Hearn in this case. His attorneys have now filed a motion to have the case dismissed with prejudice, which would essentially mean that charges could not be brought against David Hearn in this case again.
It's quite clear, the facts of the case. It's quite clear that the government has acted in bad faith. And it's also quite clear the other element that we have to get into is to show that there's a level of a potential for harassment or for bad faith here against our client. And we've certainly seen that. This was a politically motivated prosecution from day one.
So getting a judge to side with them on that motion, his attorney, Joshua Kolb, told me that is their top priority. But I asked him after that, is Hearn going to sue the government next? Kolb said nothing is off the table, that they will explore any and all legal remedies for Mr. Hearn once the issue of prejudice is determined. I asked how Hearn is doing with the case now dropped.
He's relieved. Obviously, it's quite a harrowing ordeal, honestly, to sit back and see the president of the United States saying that you should be in prison for 10 years, to have the president of the United States say things about you that are completely unjustified and untrue, malign your character, and be thrown into the tumult of the criminal justice system. That's quite an awful ordeal. And so he is relieved about that. I will say, though, he remains concerned about what he's gone through and what other Americans have gone through who have been victimized by the United States federal government and the Department of Justice.
I did reach out to the White House and also Jeanine Pirro's office for comment. We have not yet heard back. As you can see behind me, the reflecting pool remains fenced off tonight.
That case is causing tension within the Trump administration. Today, Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche weighed in after President Trump blasted Pirro's decision to drop the charges. She, of course, reports to Blanche, who said any decision to fire Pirro lies with the president.
I've watched the communication that President Trump, who has every right to be extraordinarily frustrated with damage done to our national monuments and in this city and elsewhere, but Judge Pirro is doing a great job.
And despite our repeated request to see some of that evidence, we have not received that yet. The Senate is expected to confirm Blanche as permanent AG later this week. 2 Republican senators had held up the vote demanding Blanche ban the president's $1.8 billion anti-weaponization fund. They reached a deal on that yesterday.
Now to a Fox 5 exclusive. We are hearing from the Department of Justice as it sues Montgomery County over its new gun control legislation. The Civil Rights Division filing a federal lawsuit arguing that the county's new gun law, which restricts ghost guns and creates a 100-yard buffer zone in many public places, is unconstitutional. DOJ argues Montgomery County cannot justify the law under the Supreme Court's recent Second Amendment decisions, specifically calling out the county's ban on guns in places of worship.
Well, what Montgomery County has done with this new law is effectively put most of the county off limits for law-abiding citizens seeking to carry their firearms, even where the business owner or the deacons of the church or elders of the synagogue or what have you actually welcome people having those arms.
Our job is to try to protect people, and gun legislation is important in accomplishing that. And I would rather fight and then surrender when I have to surrender if there's a court decision than to prematurely surrender.
The Silver Spring Jewish Center has also filed a lawsuit. They are arguing the ban on guns in places of worship restricts their ability to practice their religion and violates the First Amendment's guarantee to freely worship.
A federal judge has dismissed a conspiracy case against members of the Oath Keepers for the role in the January 6th Capitol attack. The judge said his hands were tied after the DOJ requested the case not go forward. Earlier this year, the DOJ moved to vacate the convictions of members of the far-right group who had their sentences commuted but were not pardoned by President Trump. Fox 5 in Loudoun County, where the sheriff's office may have to end its agreement with ICE. A new Virginia state law now in effect that orders ICE and other federal immigration agencies to submit new agreements with state and local law enforcement. They have the rest of the month to do so. Right now, the Loudoun County Sheriff's Office will hold criminals for up to 2 days after the release date so ICE can pick them up. This year alone, the Sheriff's Office says ICE has picked up more than 200 immigrants.
Still ahead tonight, he was just playing in the Super Bowl. Now the Commanders are adding four-time Pro Bowler and DMV native Stephon Diggs to the offense.
But first, Jeanine Pirro standing by live with what she's working on for us tonight here at 10 o'clock. Hey, Jeanine.
Yeah, guys, listen, for nearly 2 decades, women have depended on the midwife program here at GW Hospital. But now there are questions and concerns whether or not this program will actually continue. What we're hearing in my exclusive report right after a quick break.